Hey guys, I'll be getting started in just 5. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening. What's up? So, it has been an interesting weekend. We have quite a lot to talk about. Some of it good, some of it not so much. Uh, Although, like, at the very least, we do have some funny stuff to start off with, I suppose. What is this? Some good eating this week? Definitely. In fact, I plan to start out with at least some of that. Welcome everyone to the chat. What's up, Wise and Gourmet? Let me give you your mod privileges. I don't know where that went. Was sleep good? Well, not enough really. Not enough sleep, but definitely good. Speaking of, actually, so after today, I am going to be taking like 2 weeks-ish off. Not necessarily because I want to. Like, there is a lot of important stuff happening every day, stuff that needs to be talked about, stuff that needs to be tracked, and as much as I really do not want to miss even like a single day, it's getting worse, guys. Like, it's getting really bad, and we need to be prepared for when it does. I need to handle some like personal stuff I've been putting off for ages, and then I need to like update my computer and all of that because it's gonna get really bad really soon, and I feel like we need to be refreshed, ready, like able to engage with the content, not burned out, not struggling to keep up day in and day out. Are you happy about the shutdown ending? No. God, no. We should have never... First of all, like, it was stupid to end the shutdown without any sort of a guarantee on anything. For example now, right? You're never going to see the rest of those Epstein documents. Not to say that they were needed. We all know what's in them. But, like, you're never going to see them now because now that the government's open again, they have an active investigation into it because they just opened a new investigation into it, and so they're going to be like, hey, we can't release these files because actually we're in the middle of an active investigation. Also, I was right, as usual. You were never supposed to get snapped back by the end of this. This shutdown was not supposed to end this quickly, and you were never going to get snapped back. You are now, but you can tell just based on the fact that they're saying everyone now has to reapply for SNAP. Like, they have to rebuild the entire infrastructure for this program because they just deleted it outright. Like, they just erased the entire program, the entire list of everyone who was on it. So, I'm happy that people are going to get their SNAP back, at the very least. I assume. You're definitely going to see some fuckery with that. They're hoping, I guess, a lot of people will fail to reapply or will miss a deadline in relation to that. But also, the plan was always going to be SNAP would come back maybe for red states, maybe for some red states. They'll still be taking this off. I mean, remember, we even watched, Besant on television? No, actually, it was Nutlick talking about how they were trying to lightning speed get everyone out. It's not deleted. Every state handles all the information applications. It's still within the state governments. That's not what I mean by it's deleted. I mean, the federal infrastructure for it was just, tossed away. Obviously, the states still have all of that, and most of the states that were still keeping up with the records, especially blue states, are gonna go and re-enroll their citizens automatically. Depending on the state you live in, you might not have to reapply to SNAP personally. I would look into that for your state because I wouldn't trust them anyway, and I would do it anyway. But the fact that everyone has to reapply based on the USDA head, the federal government saying, yeah, we don't actually, we just can't flip the switch back on and put everyone who was on it back on it. That's because they got rid of it, internally in the federal government, not in the state level. Because this has happened. We've had government shutdowns before. That doesn't usually result in everyone having to reapply for the government program they were a part of, in general. Whether it's Medicare or Medicaid. To be fair, whether this was initially part of that or not, or whether this was just added in to reduce the amount of SNAP beneficiaries going forward, who knows? One way or the other, though, they don't want people on this program. They've said so as much themselves. They're still talking about who deserves food and who doesn't. Personally, I think if you as a person think that someone should need to earn food, then you're barely a person. You're not a person. People just deserve food. It is necessary for life, But I suppose let's get some of the funnier stuff out of the way first, and then we can talk about some of the more serious stuff. Now, we all know who Laura Loomer is, right? Jigsaw over here. Now, she is officially part of the Pentagon press corps now, as of earlier in the month, along with people like Jack Posobiec, Mike Lindell, Gateway Pundit, TPUSA, Frontlines, Red State, Real America's Voice, the utter lack of any news. But Laura Loomer went and got plastic surgery again, and it did not turn out that well.
Who they're trying to
you know what? Sorry, I'm not gonna subject you to having to listen to her voice, so we're just gonna mute her. Holy shit! How do you I would be suing the plastic surgeon. No way, no, seriously. Laura Loomer went to the plastic surgeon make me look like a Giga Chad. Say no more. She looks like the fucking Giga Chad meme. No, it's not edited. Well, it is edited, but it doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? She's not exactly, that. She's not actually this, but she's not that far off either. Her face is swollen. She just got surgery. But of course, it's not good surgery. She looks worse than Marjorie Taylor Greene. How do you think the Venezuela situation will be solved? I think we're going to bomb them. I think I'm actually shocked that we didn't already bomb them. A lot of people thought we were going to bomb them last week. So we'll see. We're going to talk about Venezuela a bit later. Got to talk about a bunch of other stuff first, both internally and externally. We also tried to, allegedly, we tried to coup Mexico today and yesterday as well. I don't know if it was directly us, but I'd be willing to guess the CIA had a hand in it, considering the other people who definitely had a hand in it, kind of like the Atlas Network. But we'll get there when we get there. So, as you could imagine, after this weekend, Trump's not doing all that great. I don't know how much of this clip I can play, but this is apparently what was going on at the White House. Just very, very loud blaring of Phantom of the Opera. Like, audible from outside the building, which I think is hilarious. What's up, Christopher Tablante? And, Ronaldo. And Nadia, people tell me that there's no way the US will have a Holocaust like I'm saying there will be. I think those people are delusional. We're, like, ramping up towards Holocaust at speeds never before seen, really. This won't end well? No, it will not. But the reason Trump's crashing out is because, you know, he blew Hillary Clinton. Donica Lewinsky, Throtus, as some are calling him, is being said to have blown Bill Clinton. And this is, A, like, incredibly funny, but B, it's just not gonna go away. Throtus, you know, had his first taste of presidency, and he just couldn't get enough, and he had to keep going. I feel really bad for Bill, because it must have been rough sitting there in 2016 watching his wife and his side bitch fight it out over who gets to be the president. But beyond that, like, first off, have you ever seen Trump this happy? Because I haven't. I've never seen him smile like that in my life. In my life. Now, obviously, the internet is losing it at Donica Lewinsky. It is the meme. I mean, like, both the right and the left are laughing at it. A lot of people don't even know if it's real or not. I personally think it is. Now, it gets a little complicated there, but it's even better. It's actually even better than you could possibly imagine. Also, more memes like this. Hillary starving as Trump consumes all of Bill Clinton's cum. Kyle Kulinski has just been top tier here, by the way. 10 out of 10. I mean, there's already music coming out. I hope this ain't copyright. I personally don't care if it is. I'm still playing it.
Slurping nut like his mother, going guap, guap, guap on his Arkansas brother, playing that shit like a saxophone. Presidential topic while they all alone. Don't give a fuck about Hillary. Donald Trump blow it up like a Wall 3. Trump suck Bill's dick, got his big old belly sick. From the come, pink ton.
I mean, like, took TikTok 5 minutes to come out with that. It is fantastic. That shit also slaps. I would listen to that song, for real, for real. Can't wait till that's on Spotify. But the funnier part about this, the even funnier part about this, is so originally the rumors about this came out because of a email that Mark Epstein sent, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, to Jeffrey asking if Putin has the video of Trump blowing Bubba. Bubba being famously a nickname for Bill Clinton, like going back to his presidency even. But then, Mark Epstein came out and said that actually wasn't referring to Bill Clinton when he said that. So Mark Epstein says that Bubba he joked about with his brother, Jeffrey Epstein, is not in any way a reference to former President Bill Clinton. Statement from Mark Epstein regarding this. In light of recent speculation surrounding the release of internal emails related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, Mark Epstein issued the following statement to clarify a point that has been misinterpreted in public discussion. Recently, emails from 2018 between my brother and me were made public. They were simply part of a humorous private exchange between two brothers and were never meant for public release or to be interpreted as serious remarks. For the avoidance of doubt, in the reference to Bubba in this correspondence is not in any way a reference to former President Bill Clinton. Now, look, first of all, First and foremost, I don't give a fuck what he says because obviously the man is incentivized to lie here. However, if you're gonna claim that Bubba is not a reference to Bill Clinton, then who was Trump blowing? Because there's only one way that anybody will allow the thought of, okay, Trump did not blow Bill Clinton, is if they can produce evidence, I mean like a video or a photo of Trump blowing someone else named Bubba. That's the only way, like that those are the two options you got. Either Trump blew Bill Clinton, or you have to produce a video of Trump blowing somebody else. He still blew somebody at the end of the day. Now, one of the possibilities of who Bubba is Ghislaine Maxwell's horse, actually, who's also named Bubba. She owned many others whose names were not as widely known in public discussions. The only other Bubba is that we know of that relates to this is Ghislaine Maxwell's horse. So did Trump blow a horse? Are we going Vaushite here? Or did Trump blow Bill Clinton? I need you to show me evidence of who Throtus was blowing. I am now uncomfortable. Yeah, sorry. Now that's something I 100% do not ever want to see. Look, I want to see because I need evidence that it was not Bill Clinton. The ghost of Epstein, while still down here, we still preparing for war. A clan of pedos is trying to destroy my area of democracy. Yep, they are, damned it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mexico and Venezuela today, in fact. But first, yeah, we needed to discuss this, because what the fuck else is this timeline? It might be the horse. It might be the horse! When talking about corruption in Ukraine, there's a new affair. I've talked about that in the past already, and I think it's the same, thing. I don't think anything changes from when we covered the Ukraine corruption scandal before. The Ukraine corruption scandal before, when we covered it, was 3 months ago, was in relation to Zelensky trying to take over the internal anti-corruption orgs inside of Ukraine, because a lot of those anti-corruption orgs were infiltrated by Russian assets, which then caused protests, which then Zelensky flipped back on. The main question now being, because of the corruption scandal involving a close friend of Zelensky stealing $100 million, did he know about that ahead of time? And we'll find out. We'll see what the evidence leads to. I personally don't think that he did know, but I could be wrong on that. But beyond that, I'm glad that the corruption was called out. This is why you need functional anti-corruption organizations, and the Russians were specifically trying to make Zelensky look bad while also engaging in corruption, not actually trying to get around or out of the corruption. Bro blew Bill while Hillary gave him the silent treatment. Throat game was so bad that he had to bomb Serbia to get back to Hillary. Well, again, it's either he blew Hillary or he blew the horse. It's one or the other. There's no third option. And look, all I know is, apparently this is real. I did not know that this was a thing. This is an old clip of Trump and Rudy Giuliani.
Giuliani showing his softer side dressed in drag in a comedy skit with Donald Trump.
You know, you're really beautiful.
The spoof was filmed 16 years ago when Giuliani was mayor of New York for a charity dinner.
Lily, you're just popping in. You missed the bit where it might have been a horse, actually, and not Bill Clinton. It's either Bill or the horse. Wait, I actually remember this? God damn, I don't.
So it was all in good fun.
Oh, you dirty boy, you...
Look what we've uncovered.
So, this tracks a lot with what these people are talking about. Why not both? Well, it could be both. It's just, the guy who wrote the email saying that Bubba isn't a reference to Bill Clinton, it's just the only other Bubba that we can find in reference to Epstein is Maxwell's horse. So. Or both, just saying. Honestly, both is the funnier answer. So I'm gonna go with it. Drag for me and none for thee? Exactly. Because every accusation is a confession, and also all of Like, their beliefs come from pure projection. Remember, that's the party that, I think Democrats want to put boys in girls' clothes. Yep, that's the one. That's the same party. Civil War, Blow and Bubba edition. That's true. Well, speaking of Civil War, there is a bit of an internal conflict going on in the right. Now, this is not as good news as it seems, and I'll explain why in just a second. But right now, Trump is currently workshopping nicknames for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Not great ones either. Marjorie Trader Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party. And lightweight Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Brown, green grass turns brown when it begins to rot. Look, yeah, I was gonna say, you don't have a funny joke if you have to explain the joke. But, like, genuinely, for a second, when I first read this, it's probably my dyslexia there, I read this as lightweight Congressman Marjorie Taylor Brown, as in, like, he was misgendering her, like, you know, calling her trans or something, and I was gonna be like, God damn, like, he's going in. But no, this is, the most he thinks, give him a break. That's true. That is the best he could do. Remember, he workshops this stuff in public at his rallies. He did that even while running. But this is what's going on Truth Social. You know, they think that she's a liberal now. She's not, by the way. She's not a liberal, by any means. Let's upstate your thesis. Now, I'd like to remind all of you that as much as it is fun watching the right fight each other, that does not mean that they're not still the right. That doesn't mean that they've changed any of their ideas. It just means that the branding is making them uncomfortable. That's all that means. It's just the branding that's changing. It's not any of the ideas. Marjorie Trader Greene, that one was funny. It was a little. I cite every conservative accusation being a confession I usually go to when Reagan called the USSR the evil empire and the claims about the DPRK's propaganda bubble. Well, I mean, USSR was evil, though we're worse, and the DPRK is a propaganda bubble, but we do the exact same thing. It really is the case. Like, every time. Every time. Every accusation. Mind you that, like, the reason Russia's as bad as it is now is because of what we did to Russia after the USSR collapsed. We made them into what they are now, specifically. Like, we went out of our way to go about doing that. But it is what it is. Marmalade table beans, that's a better one. So, we had this. Trump's, like, not happy. I mean, like, he's very clearly been upset from the blasting of Phantom of the Opera to engaging like this when reporters ask him questions to literally running away.
They would like to talk.
Mr. President, Representative Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous...
Well, this is why you're never going to see it again, because Democrats are losers and opened the government without any kind of a guarantee or anything, and now there's another active investigation, and so you're never going to see them. They need to ask him about Bubba. Nobody's asked him yet. Yeah, I'm really mad that not a single journalist has called out, how does Bill's dick taste? Like, there's even a fundraiser. People are putting money into, like, a fund for the first journalist who has the balls to shout, how did Bill's balls taste? If I could do it, I would do it.
The success of the Trump administration. So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr.
When he's claimed to have blown a man, he blasts musical theater from the White House's PA system. Tell me it's true without telling me it's true directly. True!
Because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
MTG was not one of Master's bootlickers. she's a weird one. She's actually one of the dumbest people in the country, because I've always said MTG was a true believer. Like, she actually believed all of the rhetoric was true. Like, the stuff that MAGA says, she actually believed it. And that's why she's acting like this. She's just that dumb. Mr. President, was Bill Clinton packing? Like, it's not that hard. It's really not. Now, let's get to some of the important stuff here, because I need you to really take this in. Right now, there is a lot of red hats being burned. Like, MAGA is rebranding, right? They're burning their Make America Great Again hats. They're lighting them on fire. This does not mean that they are changing their views. They're not changing their behavior. They're still the exact same. They're not, they haven't learned their lesson. This is why, in Inglorious Bastards, they carved swastikas onto the people's heads, so they can't just take the uniform off and pretend that they weren't a part of it. That's literally what happens in that movie, and that's why. It's because of this. The America First hat they're putting on, that's literally Nick Fuentes' hat that he was wearing during election season, saying, fuck Trump and fuck MAGA, I'm actually America First. They're just the same. They're just getting a rebrand. And this is why. In, that movie, they kind of just carved the swastika into their head. That's why. It's so they can't just pretend like they want no part in this, that they had nothing to do with it, that they didn't support this. They did, they still do. The ones that don't make that very clear. Too fucking late, you snowflake shits fucks gave everything to him. Well, yeah. I don't care. Like, if you're gonna say, I regret my vote to Trump, that's fine. But then you can't continue and support the same ideas. Because then, no, you don't regret your vote to Trump. You just regret, the things that he did to you, that you wanted him to do to others instead of you. That's what you regret. Clinton's cum dumpster is becoming the Ernst Röhm of the impending unified Reich. Kinda, yeah. This is worse than it looks, like the shit that they don't even got a catchy acronym. Well, again, it's not about the acronym. The cult of personality is not the point. And I've already discussed how they could go about shifting that cult of personality over, and what I think is a big risk into what they might do going forward, and how they might try and cope with this, how they might try and save themselves from this impending doom by making it significantly worse. Of course, Donald Trump did his job. He can be out the door now. It doesn't matter. Trump doesn't matter. He never did. The risk here is what they do. As we talked about, in their position, they have two. They have three, really. One is far less likely than the other two. Their, current pathway is not sustainable. They could either convince Trump to step down and, give him, honors and all of that shit, but they're not going to do that, and he wouldn't do it anyway. They could continue and try and, pretend like none of this ever happened, but they're losing a lot of political capital that they need. They're far more likely to try and, kirk the man and then blame the left for it, which they have been practicing the implementation of for a while now, and then continue to go about with their internal civil war. Do I think that it's 100%? No. Do I think that there is definitely a plan on the table? For fucking sure. Plans can change, they can fail, but this is being talked about, and this has been something that they've planned for a long time. Their contingency. What comes next is entirely dependent on how the public responds. Which is why it's important to take all of this in right now, and then take a rest. Thanksgiving's coming up. I don't expect them to really go through with it right before. I think actually, if they are going to go through with it, it'll be right after. But they don't have to. Like, this could go on until next year. This could go on until they reach a problem that they can't pass. This could literally happen today. It could also require more consent manufacturing. It could require more of a buildup. It could require us to already be engaged in a physical war with another country. Like, they want to, in the hypothetical path that they may want to take here, martyrize the man. That would be the way that you would transfer that cult of ideology, that personality, by kirking him, by martyring him. To do that, well, they need people to care about it first. And again, it's never been about Trump. Ever since day one, it's never been about him. None of the people around him thought so either. I mean, like, even here, look at this. This is in 2020, and this is from Steve Bannon. Just as an aside here, to show you, like, what it is that they actually want. They've always been public about this.
What he's going to do is just declare victory, right? He's going to declare victory. But that doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's the winner. The Democrats, more of our people vote early that count. Theirs voted mail. And so they're going to have a natural disadvantage, and Trump's going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself a winner. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, it's going to be a firestorm. We're going to have Antifa crazy, the media crazy, the courts are crazy, and Trump's going to be sitting there mocking, tweeting shit out. You lose. I'm the winner. I'm the king. And he'll be all over. He'll be going, where's Hunter? Is Hunter on a crack pipe? I mean, no, he'll be, because then it doesn't matter. Remember, here's the thing. After then, Trump never has to go to a voter again. He's going to fire Ray, the FBI director, and fire the he's going to say, fuck you. How about that? Because he's never going to, he's done his last election. Oh, he's going to be off the chain. He's going to be crazy.
This is what they want from him. This is what they need from him. This is what the plan's been all along. It's the same plan. So they force him to open his mind, literally, and they put J.D. Vance as a puppet and go mad crazy, killing countless leftists until it's all that. I mean, they don't even need to do that. They don't even need to go about doing it like that, Comrade Lilly. They don't need it to be Vance, for example. Like, they could realistically do anything at that point. If they successfully went through with that and went down that road, they could do just about whatever they wanted because it wouldn't matter. Like, the normal way of going about it, the system, the law, none of that would matter. That would mean full civil war, because what they would do is they would kill him and they would say that we did it, and then their people would then attack our people, or literally any people in the streets. Again, like, I actually am right now calling for the Secret Service to be, like, tripling down watch on the president. Like, you think they won't? Like, it's the same people that are in charge, that have always been in charge. The ones that resulted in Epstein dying, the ones that resulted in Jean-Luc, whatever the fuck his name is, another one of these dying. They don't want their business out in the public. They don't give a fuck about Trump. And also, remember that even, like, the rich are not happy. That's why we're rolling back a lot of these tariffs right now. It's because it's hurting the rich, the centimillionaires. Dude is a walking puke factory and somehow people listen to him. Again, like, they all know that he's full of shit. The same people who resulted in JFK dying. That also true, probably. More than likely. I mean, Vance is the second in command and probably the best choice. I just kind of assume. I also think that it would be, like, the way for them to go, but if they needed to, they would. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if they needed to stray from the plan or the system or the command hierarchy, they will, in that case. They don't need to follow the rules. Do I think that they will? There's no need for it right now, and Vance is a much better puppet, so they probably would go about it that way. I just really cannot... I can't underline how serious it is that this is now a current risk, an ongoing risk to all of us. Yeah, Trump is the least bad guy in the Republican circle. Like, his ego prevents anything from getting done. Considering our circumstances, I think Trump is the best guy to be in office right now. Absolutely. Like, I pray to God that the man is safe and alive. I don't want any doctor going anywhere near him other than, like, Dr. Oz or RFK Jr. So Trump didn't give a blowjob to Clinton? Well, either he did to Clinton or he did to Ghislaine Maxwell's horse. It's one or the other. Vance is cheaper too. So when you see stuff like this, don't get fooled. These people are still the same as they were yesterday.
All right, so this is a Trump 2020 hat. And if you're just going to be owned by the Jews and go against everybody...
Like, they're not even hiding it, even in this video.
That actually is America first.
And cover for pedophiles.
And cover for pedophiles. Then you can fuck off, Trump. You're losing people quick. What else do we...
I kind of think Clinton's dick is probably bigger than Ghislaine Maxwell's horses. I don't know how you could ever know that. Show yourself, guys. Yeah, I know. Genuinely. I mean, to be fair, as long as you're aware that these former red hats are just going to put on a blue one that says America first, then you're fine. It's the same assholes. Exactly, Lachino.
We got some hoodies.
We're burning those in the big fire.
Oh, we're going to put those in the big fire?
Yeah.
Unironically, Comrade Lily, I feel like it might not be a bad idea, because the more I talk about how I want Trump to be safe, I feel like maybe the algorithm might not censor me as much. As funny as that is, you know?
Those are two polyester.
They want more extremist shit to happen, neo-Nazis? No, they do. They absolutely do. These people are just moving from MAGA to a more neo-Nazi crowd. It's exactly what I laid out was going to happen. It's the whole plan from start to finish. For months, you've been saying Ukraine is winning the war. Any chance you could admit the truth? By the way, I want Ukraine to win the war. Well, to be fair, like right now, I think that it is a bit of a stalemate, but Ukraine's still making more gains than the Russians are. The Russians have lost significantly, like any gains they made through their summer offensive. Admit the truth. Like, when do I ever not talk about things as they're true, like as they are? I just call it like I see it. I've been busy the last month. Is this good guy Trump stuff new? Well, it's more so just the fact that the next guy is worse. It's not that he's a good guy. Trump is not a good guy. He's just the least evil person in the administration, which is saying something considering he is evil. Beyond that, it's the fact that, like, right now they're far more likely to want him gone and the next guy in. And that would be worse for us. To be fair, no one's winning the war, like everyone's losing. Yeah, exactly, everyone's losing. People think winning a war is like a movie or a video game. Yeah.
I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
They said Trump is owned by the Jews. What part makes you think they want Trump to be less extreme? Exactly.
Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
Now, some of these people do regret it. Like, actually. And some of those people have come into, like, even our community. But some of them, no. Some of them just want more racist shit. So show us a map of territory won by Ukraine. I'm going to give you one chance. And if you argue with me after this, you're gone for the day. All of the green is territory that Ukraine has liberated. All of the green. All of it. Oh, look over here. Look, remember when there was that big breakthrough? Oops, sorry, it's all gone now. Pokrovsk fell? No, it didn't. Also, doesn't matter if Pokrovsk fell, Pokrovsk did its job. Not to mention, we're still seeing more gains from Ukraine over here. Over here, we're seeing significant bombing inside of Russia. We're seeing Russia's entire, I don't know, like, fucking economy collapse. Their inability to produce any winter diesel going forward for the winter that they're about to enter. The fact that their, production of oil is dropped more than 50%. So, all of that. I talked about Ukraine a lot, not to mention the fact that, this isn't just about Ukraine anymore, it's also about Europe, and the fact that Russia is interested in fighting Europe shows that they're losing in Ukraine. Oh, also not to mention the fact that Ukraine's been making significant gains in Crimea as well recently. But, moving on. Don't be fooled by these people. Because they are the same as these people.
Secretive neo-Nazi conference.
Make no mistake, we are at war.
Attended by gym owners, coaches, trainers, networking with white supremacists that are conducting military-style drills. The topic of the event, forming disciplined groups of men who can rebuild our world amidst the coming wreckage. We obtained video, identify organizers and attendees, and expose how this movement, which often gathers in privately owned gyms, is growing in Canada.
So we're just kind of trying to figure out why you're there. Hello?
White supremacist groups that recruit you.
This is why we need to be ready, by the way. This is what I mean by it's gonna get worse. These people have been preparing for war for fucking years, and they're this close. Are we prepared for a war? Are we prepared to fight like they are? Because they're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for your communities. Isn't it good that such a stark divide is happening within the MAGA crowd? There's no real divide. It makes it easier to see who's actually embracing extremist ideology versus who's conservative. Not just everyone in MAGA is a neo-Nazi. Everyone who's still in MAGA is a neo-Nazi. Even, conservatives say this. MAGA is not conservative. In fact, here, let me show you. Let me show you conservatives saying this, in fact. Which clip was it? On Twitter. Give me a second. I gotta find which clip this is from. Maybe it was on TikTok. Let's see. Favorite. That one, not that one. God, I have so many. Sorry guys, give me a sec. I gotta find the right video. What the fuck? Why can't I view my likes? There we are. Finally. There we are.
Well, it doesn't have a role in the Republican Party. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We just had Adam Kinzinger on, who made the point very convincingly that as liberal as the Democratic Party is, it is more conservative today than the Republican Party. When you look at individual liberties, when you look at national defense, when you look at trade, I mean, the Republican Party has abandoned every principle it used to hold on the most important issues.
These are actual conservatives, not the right-wingers
that defined it. So I think you're right.
To be fair, these are also right-wingers, but these are not Republicans in the MAGA sense. These are actual conservatives. I still disagree with them fundamentally. But no, there's no real divide inside the Republican Party. The actual people who are conservative left a long time ago, and are still leaving in droves, just more quietly. And the ones that are still talking about America first with their blue hats, those are just neo-Nazis. It's idiotic to think of the world as right and left wing. I don't. I think of the world as up versus down. It's not right versus left. I think of MAGA as right wing.
Conservatism has become almost entirely
right-wing
cultural.
Democrats is accurate. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Calling the Democrat Party the more conservative party is 100% accurate.
Which does not bode well for its future, given how retrograde and mean cultural conservatism has become.
The only criticism I would say is if we were entering eras where quite a few people, few of the prior labels are not mapped on as well as they used to be. That's also true. Like, the fact that, like, MAGA still thinks about the entire left as liberals, even though liberals aren't even the left. Like, I don't even consider them as part of the left. I consider them as centrists at best. To be fair, right-wingers, because I don't really consider there to be a center. It's either, you know, you're on one side or the other. We're in a civil war scenario here. We're in a civil war right now. And, by the way, we're not the only ones. This right here is in Canada. I need all of you to be prepared for this when these people start coming to your communities.
Young men to train and fight are getting bolder.
They already are.
Like this demonstration by Second Sons, a group led by this guy, Jeremy McKenzie.
I will do everything in my power to f these people to death! Yeah!
Is that not like a literal South Park line? Jesus Christ, these people are fucking insane.
I will do everything in my power to f these people to death! Yeah!
Giving a Nazi salute here. Members of Second Sons and other groups gathered in Vancouver in July for a conference run by the Exiles of the Golden Age, a white supremacist group that's really into mixed martial arts and ancient Germanic traditions like this ritual to mark the changing of seasons, complete with a swastika. This is some of the imagery that they put on their social profiles.
Okay, they're definitely Nazis. Look at that shit. Terrible.
The Exiles keep the location secret, first meeting at a park to vet attendees.
Fucking eighth world country looking ass war zone shithole country. I swear to fuck, these immigrants wearing swastikas need to go the fuck back to Germany. Mother dirty roach infested things are so thoroughly the need to be solved. You know, like, a lot of these people were actually brought over here by us following World War II. Like, Buncor ain't exactly wrong. I wouldn't say all of these people are immigrants, but a lot of them we brought over. And also, Canada specifically brought quite a lot of them over. That's why people like Bill Maher and Destiny are trying to help Democrats fight against their left flank. Yeah, because they support the right. They object more to the counter-revolution than they're committed to imposing their right-wing agenda. And yes, like, I know Canada was nowhere near far enough from before day one. I followed this reporting. Germany probably doesn't want them, even if they were German. Well, I mean, the AfD does, but, you know, the rest of them don't. But also, like, yeah, no. In fact, I would go so far as to say that people like Bill Maher and Destiny are more committed to enforcing, like, the right-wing agenda than to the counter-revolution, because they align more closely with the thoughts and beliefs of the right. They still believe in the system that they're fighting for. Like, they believe in the idea, the broader project, and they fight for the same project, whereas we're fighting for an entirely different project. The old school Republicans are trying to co-opt the Democratic Party, ironic because it was already theirs before the Nixon Southern Strategy Party switch. Well, yeah. Like, the old school Republicans are trying to co-opt the Democratic Party, whereas MAGA is about to split into the Nationalist Party. I love Thai boxing. It's nothing to do with fascism. No one said that Thai boxing has anything to do with fascism. The point was not that Thai boxing is fascist. The point was fascists use martial arts gyms to hide their fucking Nazi meetings.
So once we identified the park where it was being held, we very quickly just looked at Google Maps and saw, well, where could they hold?
And also, MMA is 100% fascist coded, at least now it is, with this administration.
And one of the venues I saw right away was the Scottish Cultural Centre.
The Scottish Cultural Centre is on a diverse block. There's a Taiwanese Canadian Cultural Society, a mosque, and a Buddhist education center.
and we had a photographer, and they collected we had over 50 individuals' pictures who attended.
I also called him Throtus. God damn it, Hassan.
We go to the Scottish Cultural Centre to ask about the event, but the executive director wasn't there. Later, we call.
Liking MMA doesn't make you a fascist. Just watching MMA is fascist coded because the MMA industry is fascist coded. You can still enjoy that and watch it and have fun with it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It is nothing about you. It's about the industry and the people running it. I mean, my best male friend does a whole lot of MMA specifically to beat the shit out of fictional characters in the Ozarks. Well, yeah, that shit's based. It has nothing to do with the actual sport. It's about the industry. It's about, fuck, what's their name? Like the person who runs the main MMA fucking company. I don't know. They're organizing an octagon fight on the goddamn lawn of the White House. Come on. Let's be real here. MMAs shouldn't exist. It's a barbaric sport. It should be banned. I disagree entirely. I think it's fine if people want to beat the living shit out of each other. Like, as long as it's consensual, I don't really care. Dana White, thank you. Bulletproof Baldy. It's the industry, it's not the sport. The right-wing expansion into MMA was quite an intentional project, started more or less in 2020. Luke Thomas, former MMA author, had a really good breakdown. A thing that a lot of people miss about that is the influence of the Saudis. It's the Saudi influence that turned MMA and UFC into this right-wing coded sport. And that's because the Saudis do this with literally every sport. It's their main method of propagandizing. Beat the shit out of me, streamer mommy. I have a hard job.
So you didn't know this was a neo-Nazi gathering? Of course not. We also find people you might not expect. Gym owners and coaches.
I think we got a lot bigger sadist problems in America than MMA right now. Again, I don't give a shit about it. I don't like sports. But if two people want to consensually beat the living shit out of each other, I don't see why not. Again, I'm not in favor of regulating your personal life behavior. I'm in favor of regulating industry. I don't think the government should really have much in the way of anything to do with telling you what you can and can't do with your own body or, with the consent of another person. That's up to you, your community, the other person. I couldn't give less of a fuck. I don't think that there should be a company that gets to make money off of it, though. Being into taking care of yourself and being into self-improvement, there's a huge manosphere industry around it. Going to the gym, taking care of yourself is inherently political, but there's an industry around it, and there's an industry built to brainwash you while you go about it, exactly, as well, and that's the bigger problem. That's what needs to be outlawed. If I had to deal with me, I'd probably catch a charge for witness. Jesus Christ.
Lane Palmer. Palmer, who sometimes goes by Lane Jackson, is an organizer, according to the Exiles.
Principles that are ethnically exclusive, both biologically and spiritually.
And we match his photo to the profile of a coach at West Shore Boxing Gym in Langford, BC. He doesn't respond to our emails or calls. The gym tells us that they weren't aware of his background, and he's no longer part of the gym. What does it say to you that these groups...
I think if two people want to fight to the death and they both consent, I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. I have no interest in seeing that, but I don't think that I should get to decide what other people can do with consent. Yeah, no, I also think that you have the right to end your own life. Do I think you should? No. Do I think it's a good idea? No. Do I want the government to physically prevent you from doing so if you choose to? No. That's your life. You get to do whatever the fuck you want with it. I don't want anyone profiting off of it. That's a whole other story. By the way, if you get censored chats, feel free to just send me a snapshot of them in the Discord. And don't forget to like the stream. And fair enough, not Yvette Chambers. No one wants to end up in the gas chambers.
And MMA gyms are coming together.
It suggests something far more sinister too, that this is deeper and more widespread than we may have initially consider.
We also find Carl Stornis.
Sure. You can think that it should be outlawed. I don't know what you think it says about me more than you. I'm the one here advocating for personal freedoms. You're the one advocating to take away people's right to die of their own accord. I could not give less of a fuck what you do with your personal life, as long as it is not harming anybody else that hasn't consented to it. I don't care. I care about people profiting off of it. You can call me a bad person. I'm a psychopath. Sure, go for it. You are an idiot. You are a virtue signaling idiot who is going to get put into a camp and get killed. Get the fuck out of here with your woke scolding. I'm the one advocating for your right to do whatever the fuck you want. You're the one trying to take people's freedom away.
He co-owns a strength training company which frequently operates out of a gym in Mission, BC. He was also a children's coach there at one point. And in this photo on the gym's Instagram page, he shows off a tattoo of a skull symbol used by the Nazi SS.
And in this photo, there's a Nazi SS symbol on the back of his helmet. You were documented being there, so I'm just curious to know why you were there.
Because they're a Nazi. That's why.
Scottish Cultural Center in Vancouver in July.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
But check this out. His right arm tattoo and this shirt match the conference footage. We called the owner of Mission BJJ.
I was led to believe this was a jiu-jitsu seminar.
When we spoke to him, he didn't remember attending anything in Vancouver in July.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because my gym has so many diverse backgrounds of Indians, Filipinos, and if I thought that we had a white supremacist there, that would... It actually blows my mind, to be honest, but...
Is he still...
People still think that white supremacy requires you to be white, even though we've had literal, just like last year, running for governor of North Carolina was a black Nazi who talked about how much he wanted slavery back. Laura Loomer is a pro-Nazi, Jewish Israeli. To be fair, Israelis, so not actually Jewish, but, still. What's up, Erratic Cookie?
Going to be at your gym?
No, I've told him to leave the gym.
Finally, here's Ron.
Multicultural white nationalism, simply, Steve.
His gym teaches adults and children with diverse backgrounds.
We're doing some research on an event that happened this past summer in Vancouver, the Scottish Cultural Center. We noticed that you were one of the guys that were at this event. We were just kind of trying to figure out what was going on, why you were there. And
it was really an addition, not a correction, but yeah.
That part of it.
By the way, why are we not doing this ourselves? Why do we not have gyms teaching people how to do self-defense, how to protect their family? I mean, again, I've told you guys to go join the SRA. I mean, that happens in these in the SRA. You'll learn how to protect yourself, how to do hand-to-hand self-defense and shit. But we need people on our side preparing for this, because the other side's been preparing for decades. Because we train to fight like the Viet Cong. Well, I mean, you can still do that.
What do you mean?
As long as someone's training.
What do you mean what I mean? Sorry, I'm confused. Hello?
Mixed martial arts and combat sports, many of them, can be significant gateways to far-right extremism. But I have to stress that it doesn't always have to be this way. There are plenty of anti-fascist and progressive-leaning mixed martial arts. This is a space they...
Okay, that's good to hear. I just wish they were more common, and I saw them more.
They have co-opted, but it is not a space that belongs solely to them.
We'll continue to track groups like this as they pop up across the country. If you see something like this in your community, reach out. VI.
If you know someone in Canada, send this to them. I'll drop the link in the chat, because there's no escape from this. Whether you're in the United States, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in Australia, there's no getting away from it. There just isn't. Gotta be prepared. If it helps, though, the people that you're preparing to defend yourself against are all massive, massive fucking pussies and cowards. For example, here is one Border Patrol agent crying about how he's going to get doxxed after being arrested for drunkenly barging into a woman's restroom with a loaded gun, demanding a date from the woman inside, and then punching the arresting officers. Just moved to China? You think China doesn't have, like, Nazis? Like, they're just a little different, but, like, they still have the same general beliefs.
Gosh damn it.
You made a mistake.
I made more than fucking one mistake, man. And everybody just fucking hates me here.
Isaiah, look at me, brother.
Dude, you know what the word doxed is?
You made a mistake.
You know what doxed is?
Doxed?
I made a mistake, dude. I just fucking... No, I'm just trying to be fucking extra careful.
I know.
Do you know how many fucking people are after me over here in Los Angeles?
I know.
It doesn't mean no, you don't know. You know what the word doxed is? D-O-X-X-E-D,
No, what is
dude.
that?
Doxed.
No.
The irony of the bathroom, literally, like, every single time. Of course these people will walk into the women's bathroom. Like, no shit.
What is that?
If you're having your fucking personal information pumped up online and on the fuck...
To be fair, Vlad, guns are not the issue in America, it's Americans. But, like, yeah, no, people can't defend themselves with knives, machetes, or axes either. In fact, in a lot of states, it's actually illegal to be carrying those in the United States. In Australia, it's illegal to be carrying those as well in some states, as well as guns in some states. But we still have all that violence. You also can't get rid of guns anyway, so...
Fucking news?
No. I'm sorry to hear that.
Have you ever had your fucking parents' information? Have you ever had fucking people stand up at your parents' house because you're over here in Los Angeles doing everything, dude? That's the fucking... Gosh.
So, let's check out the video of what this one actually did, huh?
I'm gonna tase him, I'm gonna tase him. I'm gonna tase him, I'm gonna tase him. You fight, don't you?
Newly released body cam video showing the arrest of a Customs and Border Patrol agent. Mike Rogers, you worked for weeks to get this video.
So, Mike, take us through what it shows and the tragedy that follows.
Yeah, so this is Isaiah Hodgson. Isaiah Hodgson was a Customs and Border Protection agent, and he was involved in a controversial arrest of a 20-year-old U.S. citizen in a Walmart parking lot. That was Adrian Martinez. Now, the feds accused Martinez of getting...
I agree. Guns are created to kill people, no other reason, so don't kill people. How hard is that? It's not that hard. It's just an issue in America because lots of countries have lots of guns, and not a lot of them have issues with shootings. I don't support banning guns, but I do think we should make it as hard as possible. I think we should tax guns so high that people can't afford it. Again, you can just print them at home with plastic, so...
involved in an operation, but during that takedown, Hodgson's face went viral. Now that's how we figured out who he was when this happened. Check out this video that we just got from the Long Beach Police Department. The Long Beach Police say that's Hodgson there in the white hat, white shirt. He had pulled out a gun, according to law enforcement, inside the women's restroom at a Yard House restaurant. This is a video from the parking lot when he encountered a security guard who later called 911. This is Hodgson, according to police, putting the gun down by a tree before he is encountered by officers. Now, this is a security camera from the...
It's not, Gary? I thought printing a gun was illegal. I mean, it depends on where you live, but, like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like, people will do it anyway. Wait, I never knew that. What other countries? I'm guessing, like, Sweden or something? Switzerland has a fuckload of guns, and, like, literally, like, teenagers in school learn how to shoot. They have after-school programs where, like, 16-year-olds learn how to shoot. Even like they have gotten competitions where 16-year-olds get to shoot over a freeway. Not to see that like they can't see the cars as they're, you know, laying down to shoot, but like, yeah, they don't get mass shootings, school shootings, stuff like that. Like that doesn't happen because it's the culture. It's the amosexualism that's the issue. It's very different when you raise kids to, I don't know, like respect the gun, to respect other people, to have, you know, like safety lessons, to learn how to make sure someone else doesn't get hurt. Also, not to mention like, you know, healthcare, mental health, like therapy, shit like that.
Police Department. Next, you'll see body camera video of when they tried to get Hodgson to surrender.
Sidewalk. Don't retreat. Get on the ground. Sir, get on the ground.
So, yeah, that's the guy who walked into the women's restroom with a gun and then demanded a date from the woman in the restroom and then got arrested as Border Patrol. I love this for him. Me too. I'm glad he got arrested. A cisgendered man went into a women's restroom with a gun. I wonder why the TERFs and transphobes aren't screaming about it. Probably the same reason that Libs of TikTok wasn't screaming about the pedophilia when all of the Epstein files got released, you know? Well, not the files, but the emails, rather. Yeah, dude, how's it feel to be on the side of not so tough now? True. Sounds like a broken society to me. Blaming it solely on guns is looking for cancer and being mad at the sun. I mean, kinda, yeah. Every accusation is a confession. Example, 15 trillion. True. True. Now, continuing on with our horrific policing in this country. Here is a Baltimore cop that literally tried to kill somebody, a black teenager, and then crashed his cop car. I am very dyslexic. Sorry if I read that wrong. Close enough, though.
Alright. Yeah, what's your reason to stop?
Damn, that was loud.
You ain't even got no reason to stopping him, bro. Hey, yo, walk off, Trey. You hit the alley, bro. Go ahead, Trey. Walk off, bro. He beating. You ain't even got no reason to stop him.
I got no idea what the person filming is saying. Don't ask. Doesn't matter.
Hey, yo, what the fuck? You gonna hit him with the car? Yo, what the fuck, bro?
Glad they're trying to ban guns for the left already anyway, but how about we, like, stay on topic, guys? Because we're gonna get too distracted if I have to jump around.
Hey, yo, what the fuck? You gonna hit him with the car? Yo, what the fuck, bro? Yo, hell no, yo. Hey, yo. Come back this way, yo. Yo, beating, bro. That's his dumb ass.
My favorite part is when he crashes.
Dumb ass. Fucking dummy. Dumb ass, you dumb as shit. You dumb as shit. You crashing and all that. You really crashing out, bro. Go ahead, dumbass. Really crashing out, bro.
Ran out of the car, too. Motherfucker thought he was playing GTA 6. The Baltimore accent is crazy. Literal crash out. Both true. And, no, like, this is actually peak, yeah. Yeah, you're not getting out of this one, mate. You got caught on video. He's facing 65 years, up to, rather, for attempted murder. He's not gonna get 65 years, though he should.
You crashed his car and all that, bro. Don't really try and hit my man, bro. What the fuck? Don't really try and hit, bro, with the car and all that. Oh, hell no.
That is the closest the GTA I've seen so far. True. I have to give him the old oink oink. That's also true. Now that's a total breakdown, full on lost it. Can you, like, see a scenario where that's not the case? Because I rarely see American cops, or really, like, any kind of law enforcement outside of just cops, act in a way that is reasonable for any other civilized country. This is why we should all, keep space on our phone for video. This is our responsibility as citizens. As I've said, the defining image of the 21st century seems to be an agent of the state holding a gun to a citizen as the citizen holds a phone back in response. I mean, Zahil, I'm the furthest left person you have almost ever seen, and I've been against gun control on day one because the issue has never been the guns, it has been the people. Again. Every time.
You guys again?
So, we got ICE in Charlotte, North Carolina now. They've launched Operation Charlotte's Web. Probably, honestly, to regain some of their momentum. I didn't imagine the next named operation was going to be like a red state, or even really like any state that didn't host one of like the big 5 major cities. But they're probably not ready for New York right now, hence why Charlotte. This makes sense. I didn't know I was liberal till Taco Liquor started yelling at me. I mean, they still call me a liberal.
Oh, what the fuck? I'm backed up. I'm backed up. I'm backed up. What happened? What happened? They just ID'd him. They just ID'd him. The other guys. Don't you fucking guys coordinate with each other? They just ID'd him. They just ID'd him. You broke his fucking windows. There was another truck that was here and ID'd him already. The fuck is going on? Just show me your ID again. This is bullshit. What the fuck? Hey. You guys.
Again, like these people don't care. They don't care about finding like criminals. They don't care about solving crime. They don't care about who is here illegally. That was a citizen. Like, all they care about is inflicting suffering. That's it. That has only been it. They were staging for Charlotte well in advance, tactics, refinement, and testing grounds for the big show. I mean, that makes sense. Again, I'm not on the ground, so I do miss some stuff every now and again. This is a training exercise for when they epically destroy the libs by invading New York. Yeah, I mean, that tracks. I make 18 grand a year and pay $1,200 a month in rent and bills. I just want the government to leave me alone. I wish they would. I wish they would. Unfortunately, they're more likely to just cause you more bills to pay, like this. Again, also in North Carolina.
No. Usted me lo quiebra, usted me lo paga. Usted me lo quiebra, usted me lo paga. Usted quiebra mi ventana. ¿Por qué hizo eso, señor? ¿Pero por qué lo están haciendo? Lo que quedó de mi pobre carro. 2 veces en 10 minutos me pararon. Entrando al restaurante y cuando vengo con la comida la segunda vez. Los segundos no tuvieron benevolencia de una.
Criminals. Criminals and terrorists, each and every one of them. Guys, don't forget to join the Discord, like the YouTube stream, sue the fuck out of them? Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely. By the way, if you wanted to donate to me, you could use this link so that Twitch or YouTube don't take half the cut. I basically work for free, y'all, so help a girl out here, support independent media. And I think this is... No, it's not the last one on Charlotte, but I got one more after this. Just so you really understand, even though they've been directed to by the courts to stop using tear gas, they just don't care. They don't care.
You better start clearing out! You better start clearing out! You better start clearing out! Let's start throwing gas in here! Hurry up!
Yeah, you're a fucking bottle. Look at that. That little fucking bottle.
Let her go. Shut the fuck up. Clear out. Stop saying today, you bitch ass motherfucker.
Hey, thank you, Rolando, for joining the channel as a member. I forgot that I have channel memberships available on YouTube. By the way, guys, if you do become a member on YouTube, then you do get access to some of the cool emotes that we have over on Twitch as well. Yeah, tear gassed a 1-year-old in Chicago and pepper spray, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, they just pepper spray random cars as well. So it is their direct method of engagement. Remember, we also even had the court order, like ICE to release 650 illegally detained people in Chicago. And Greg Bavino went and said, if you make us release these 650 people, we're just going to arrest 1,650 more. So, like, just directly threatening the courts. So, you know, I agree with the right on that. They are correct on gun control. Like, you're correct in that. It's the liberals that are wrong on it. The ones that want to get rid of guns because they think it'll solve the problem. It won't. Also, like, it's not the first time with weapons either. I've gotten flack for this before. People disagree with me on this, but banning landmines has made landmines more dangerous. We shouldn't have banned landmines. We should have regulated them so that there are built-in ways to remove them, to disable them, to track them. All of that, like, doesn't exist because we just made them illegal. And now we're back to laying landmines all over Europe again. So we need more landmines. We are using them rapidly, but we banned them for so long that we didn't implement any research. We didn't find any like new technology. We didn't make them better. We didn't do anything positive. We just ignored them until we needed them again. That's scary. Yeah, it is. Logistically impossible, depraved ambiance. You can't do it. Like physically, you just can't do it. Speaking of, actually, not only can you not physically, like, it's impossible to get rid of all the guns. It's also impossible to get rid of all the nukes. And now I think every country should have a nuclear weapon, because not having a nuclear weapon in your country at all is now a big risk. I mean, look at Ukraine. Notice how I didn't say ban? Yeah, I know. I just mean, like, broadly speaking. Yeah. I'm watching a news video of the story. Is it the one where the woman's in the hospital? Oh, the one in Baltimore, rather. It's pretty fucked. What's up, Latina Mafune? So in some rare good news, well, I wouldn't say good news, but in some rare, more positive than negative news, senior energy department and nuclear officials in the Trump administration, to include Energy Secretary Chris Wright, Administrator of the National Nuclear Security Administration, Brandon M. Williams, and top officials from the U.S. National Laboratories are set to meet with the White House and National Security Council in the coming days in an attempt to dissuade President Trump from resuming explosion testing of nuclear weapons in Nevada. Great. I'm glad we still have people who are like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, I don't think we need to start blowing up nuclear weapons to test them. We know ours work. We do. We do maintenance on them, unlike the Russians, you know? The turning point on nukes was Libya, not Ukraine. Then I'm not talking about the turning point, necessarily. It's more so just, like, proof that not having them invites an attack now. Look at what happened in Iran. We attacked them because they didn't have a nuke. We wouldn't have done so if they did. And don't forget that, like, Israel has 90, and their nuclear doctrine, unlike any other country in the world that has nuclear weapons, is not return a nuclear strike with a nuclear strike. It's instead, it's if their conventional military is ever defeated in the field, they nuke everybody. So why not? To my knowledge, the ban on live testing is an international treaty. Yeah, Russia backed out of it, and so did we. I don't know if we officially, like, signed the thing backing out of it, but it doesn't matter. Beyond that, though, we're continuing with the trend of military personnel inside of the Trump administration and in the Pentagon beginning to question their orders. Some of them far more publicly than others. Like, we had one that got fired. We had one that quit their job. It was like a lieutenant admiral and I think a lieutenant general as well. I might be wrong on exactly what their rank was, but we're seeing more and more military personnel actively seeking outside counsel on whether their orders are lawful. We did not, we're just threatened to, we're a party to it. Well, again, like, either we do or we don't. We're gonna see very soon. If they can convince, you know, Trump to not start nuclear testing, then we might not. Do you think people with a criminal background should be able to get guns? Do you think mentally ill people should be able to get a gun? If your answer to both of those is no, then you support gun control. Like, I support gun control, I just don't support banning guns entirely. Ideally, I say no. I don't think that people with criminal backgrounds, or depending on the violent criminal background, should get a gun, or people with mental illness should. But I also don't think that that's feasible because, again, you can print them at home.
Development right now, military personnel in the United States military are actively seeking outside legal counsel to see whether or not Trump administration...
I mean, if you're charged with, terrorism, I think that should disqualify you. If you're charged with, I don't know, a felony for grand larceny, then no, I don't think that that should impact whether you can have a gun or not. I think it should be situational far more specifically than it is. I also think that you should be able to vote if you're a felon. It's more so what crime did you commit? That should be what bars you. But also, again, I don't think that it necessarily even matters because I don't think that you could feasibly implement that and police it. Class B or higher felonies is what I advocate for. Okay, fair enough. That works. Do we need a command about how to do the 3D printer thing, or is that a bit too Fed posty? It's a bit too Fed posty. Didn't you say earlier that you didn't support gun control? No, I said I don't support banning guns. Have you seen what they've been calling terrorism these days? Well, of course, asking me that question assumes that, we're in charge. If you're asking me that question under the current government, then no. I don't think anything should bar you under the current government because they lie constantly. To be fair, they're already going to ban guns for the left. They're trying to ban guns for trans people. They're trying to ban guns for leftists. Already. I don't support that. I have a friend that says if you go far back enough, if you go far enough to the left, you get your guns back. I agree. Commit insurrection, you shouldn't be able to get a gun. But if you commit business fraud to hide information from an electorate, it shouldn't ban you from getting a gun. I actually agree with that one, ironically. Powder cocaine versus crack cocaine, etc. too. Kind of like that, except not in the, horrible way. I don't think using drugs should bar you from owning a gun, personally.
Orders regarding boat strikes in the Caribbean. We have a major development right now. Military personnel in the United States military are actively seeking outside legal counsel to see whether or not Trump administration orders regarding boat strikes in the Caribbean and national...
Yes, if crime is still illegal and people still do it anyway. That's not what that means, though. It's different, because when you are doing crime in public, there is a way for people to see you committing those crimes. Printing a gun at home is not something that you can feasibly track somebody for without aggressively cutting down on personal freedoms. Hence the distinction.
National Guard deployments on U.S. soil are lawful and legal. According to a new PBS report, military service personnel are seeking out outside legal counsel to justify Trump administration orders at an increasing rate. Calls to an organization called the Order Project, which is a nonpartisan organization that provides outside legal counsel to individuals in the military who believe they may have received an order that wasn't lawful, have gone up significantly recently, along with an additional hotline for National Guard members concerned about domestic deployment in the United States. This is a major development. People within the United States military are actively calling outside lawyers to see whether or not what Trump is ordering them to do is legal. This isn't normal.
That's good. That's a good sign. I do like hearing that. Especially with what we've been doing. Especially when it comes to not just domestically, but internationally. We're committing, we're just Israeli now. Number 6? What do you mean by number 6? Aye. Now, speaking of the Caribbean, U.S. Marines at the U.S. Embassy in Port-au-Prince in Haiti exchanged gunfire with suspected gang members. Based on, what we're saying, I don't know if they were gang members. They could have been, very easily. No Marines were injured. The incident is described as the most significant attack on U.S. personnel in Haiti this year, amid escalating gang control. again, like the framing being very America-centric, I'd have to look into that. Personally, like, my assumption at this point in time is we are the ones inciting most of this through our actions, but that doesn't necessarily mean that is always the case. Like, not everyone in the military is fully psychotic. So, keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about the fact that we, or I don't want to say we, but allegedly, America-backed organizations were involved in attempting to coup Claudia Sheinbaum in Mexico. So, let's talk about that. First and foremost, America is there for the oil. It's part of it. It's not the only reason. There was large-scale protests in Mexico City yesterday. And this was scary. I mean, like, it was bad. Like, it got violent bad. The people were breaking through barricades. They had chainsaws trying to cut walls and all of this stuff. But the important part of this being that this was sponsored by NGOs like the Atlas Network. Now, if you don't know who the Atlas Network is, you should. They're incredibly evil. We've talked about the Atlas Network in relation to sovereign citizens in Australia. Another PSYOP that these people are engaged in. CIA-backed shit. Well, exactly. Considering the fact that we have openly talked about CIA operations in Latin America and Central America and in relation to Mexico as well, as like Venezuela, Colombia, all over the place, as well as the fact that, like, Claudia Sheinbaum is the most useful and functional left-leaning leftist government in the world. Like, she's an actual leftist and has increased the standard of living in Mexico dramatically under her presidency, which is, to say, not a thing that we in America like to see. So the protest was sponsored by the usual NGOs tied to U.S. interventionism, like the Atlas Network, and by Salinas Pliego, the recently humiliated billionaire forced to pay his taxes, who spent millions trying to rival Sheinbaum's massive crowds, only managed to gather a fraction. Despite the very violent rioters, they managed only to gather a small geriatric crowd for their supposed Gen Z protest. Guys, like, Gen Z protest? This is the most CIA-looking spook I've ever seen with my eyes. Really? This is the Gen Z protest? Like, dude has the porn stash, even. So, it should not come as a surprise to you that we tried to coup them. Millions lifted out of poverty in Mexico, resurgence in rail. Yeah, motherfucker looks 50. Yeah, he does. Real, hello fellow kids energy. Absolutely. And every News Corp wrote about it as if it was the kids rising up. Well, it's because all of the mainstream news outlets work for the same people. The Atlas Network is intertwined in all of this throughout the world. This is a global far-right activation in this. In fact, even Claudia Sheinbaum, President Sheinbaum, said so herself. Over 8 million bots activated to incite anti-Sheinbaum protests. President Claudia Sheinbaum exposed the right-wing operation. 90 million pesos spent in 2 months to inflate tomorrow's protest using Argentinian and Spanish accounts linked to the Atlas Network, infamous for targeting sovereign governments in the region on behalf of transnational corporations. This is an inorganic call funded by the international right, the expert explained at the Daily People's Conference. Which, like, fantastic. God, I love seeing, like, a government that actually works for its people and is good at their jobs. I bet the porn stash guy wants to outlaw anime. Probably. Essentially, what they tried to do here was they tried to January 6th this. You take it back, that was insensitive? God damn it, I wish I saw what you said. That's okay, I can see. No, I can't, god damn. When you delete it, even I can't see it in the records. Also, if it makes you, go, oh, really, no shit. This is one of the, rioter groups that was part of this, Gen Z protest. The One Piece creators were probably not asked for permission to use their stuff or whichever anime it was. Well, I mean, they don't need to be, Nadia, Yvette Chambers. The One Piece, like, straw hat pirate flag is now an international symbol of revolution. It's literally an illegal symbol in Indonesia. I got censored for saying I'm glad it failed. Of course he did. So, yeah, Nazis. In fact, the Nazi rioters in Mexico City vandalized Sheinbaum's office with the phrase, Jewish whore. I'm trying to be a better person just a little. Good for you, honestly. Stronger than me there. Breaking! Luffy condemned Mexican Nazi rioters using straw hat skulls and crossbones. IP law is a scam? I mean, yeah, I think IP law is a scam, but, you know, we gotta operate within, like, the scope of reality. Like, yeah, sure, these are definitely, a natural protest movement forming. Like, real anti-corruption, anti-civil rights being taken away, anti-imperialist crowd. 100%. Anti-fascist crowd, even, let's say. They need new ideas. Their tactics are thoroughly trash. Well, to be fair, their tactics do work in America and in Europe and in Australia, so I imagine they thought it would work the same in Latin America. It just turns out that it doesn't, because they're far more used to those tactics. You know, you see this guy at the protest in America, and you're just like, huh, dude, it's based. Well, you don't, you know. Idiots do. Anyone at a protest in Mexico City sees this guy, and they go, ah, it's the Americans. There they are. But they got really bad. Like, it got quite violent. It injured 120 people.
Tense scenes on the streets of Mexico.
And remember, we're going to be watching mainstream media, so they're going to cover this as if it was a real, like, Gen Z protest. It wasn't. This was an op. But just so you see it with your own eyes.
City, as protesters clashed with riot police outside the National Palace. Under the banner of Generation Z, thousands of demonstrators had gathered to condemn.
Yes, definitely. I see so many Gen Z right here. Under the banner of Generation Z, she says, with not a single on screen.
Rising violence. It comes in the wake of the murder of Carlos Manzo, an anti-crime mayor, earlier this month.
We are marching for Carlos Manzo, for the vile murder of Carlos Manzo, because we want justice for him and for all those who have lost their lives and their property at the hands of criminals.
Carlos Manzo,
Okay, we can skip ahead to some of the scenes.
Morena, and called on the state to step up their endeavours to fight crime.
Oh, did I really add this one twice? Here. I've still yet to see a single person in this clip that I can definitely point to and be like, that person was born after 97. That's a stupid question, Spider-Man. It's because we don't have any power. If we had any power, not only would I be banning guns for fascists, I would be banning fascists. This has nothing to do with the left. It was anti-mafia. No, this is the right. It wasn't anti-mafia. This was the Atlas Network. This was Argentinian and Spanish pesos being spent to create a fucking psyop that convinced these people that they were fighting for, I don't know, anti-corruption. It's a stupid question because you know we don't have any power. Angry much? Yeah, I'm angry at you wasting my time with a question that you know the answer to while we're talking about something far more serious and currently present. Continuing on. So this is a January 6th? Yeah, it is. Like, it's actually a January 6th. Again, like, even, like, the day after, it was already very clear. This was money spent. This was right-wing, global, Americanized ideology being propagandized to the public to incite a riot. People are allowed to be stupid losers, but I'm still intolerant of intolerance. And not that tame. Definitely not that tame. Live chats on screen is both YouTube and Twitch. I thought I was missing chat posts. Yes. By the way, guys, in Twitch chat, please go and drop a follow on the YouTube stream. Twitch has gotten mad at me before. I've been banned twice already. The third one ain't gonna be undone. Once I cross that line for the third time, you guys are gonna need to find me somewhere else. So definitely join the Discord and follow on YouTube already. Can we do segregation, but only for people with just the most dog shit takes? Yeah, we can put them in a spaceship and send them to Mars. They can live there. Here's them trying to chainsaw down the barriers to the government buildings. So glad they lost. Yeah, me too. Like, again, what they're trying to do in this case is the same thing that we want to do with Venezuela. By removing Sheinbaum, that would have allowed the U.S. to have a greater staging ground for the war that we are almost certainly about to start. Let's see. Speaking of, let's open a couple of these links. On that. Looks decently funded to me. Well, it was. I'm curious, you think we can defeat fascists in the marketplace of ideas, or do you think the marketplace of ideas is... Okay, first off, no, I don't think that the marketplace of ideas is even like a battlefield that we can fight in, because the marketplace of ideas is dead. They have a woke filter installed into their brain. You can beat them in the marketplace of mind control. I'm fine with that one. There's no such marketplace of idea. Yeah, the media environment's been bought by the millionaires just like everything else. I'm perfectly fine with using their tactics against them. But no, not like, you know, in a perfect world, debate the facts until the fascist goes away. Like, that doesn't happen. Never has that ever happened. Practically speaking, isn't it kind of a big gamble to assume COUP Mexico will turn out in their favor? No, not when they already had the people that would come in place lined up, kind of like we do in Venezuela. Like, we're doing this stuff with Venezuela with the assumption that if we were to engage successfully in regime change, that Maduro would be placed with the chick that just won the Nobel Prize, the one that's begging for us to invade Venezuela. God, I can't remember her name. The one that I think should get thrown into the ocean. The minute you enter a discussion with a fascist in the marketplace of ideas, you've lost by implicitly lending them the credit. Yeah, absolutely. I think the only way that you can talk to a fascist in any kind of that way that doesn't immediately, give them credit as if their idea is useful somehow, is to treat them with utter, entire contempt. Venezuela is for oil, fuck's sake. It's not just for oil, for fuck's sake. We've talked about this at length, and I've literally had experts on the channel to talk about it. Oil is a plus. We want the oil. We want the natural resources. Venezuela is also a staging ground for a further invasion of Latin America. It is also based in a long-standing feud between Trump and Maduro. We don't need their oil right now. We will in the future. The fossil fuel companies want the oil money so bad. We want it. It is a factor. It is not the only reason. We don't need their oil right now, that desperately. We need it for the future. We want it. That's not the only reason. I think that's a stupid argument, Akira Sakura. I think that's not how reality works. I think, by the way, all of this is based on an incorrect assumption, because the only reason Nazis exist today is because we didn't do this correctly the first time. Again, 1946, post-World War II, American-occupied Nazi Germany, when polled, do you think the Nuremberg trials were unfair? The answer came yes for 6%. 4 years later, same place, asked the same people, the same question. That answer, instead of 6%, within 4 years, was now 1 in 3. That's it. It's just that simple. You have to be intolerant of intolerance. Nazism is illegal, period. That's how it works. Every single Nazi is never going to get to pass their ideology down. Done. 1948, Zionists invade Palestine. Should have stopped that as well. Those are also exactly the same. You can't be a Zionist and Jewish, because to be a Zionist, you must agree with the Nazis.
Right, now to the latest development in the Trump administration's escalating campaign against alleged drug traffickers in Latin America. The U.S. Navy announced it moved the USS Gerald Ford Strike Group, that's its largest and most advanced carrier strike group, from European Command,
which officially entered the region today.
To break down what's happening.
Marking this, I think it's about 17% of the total Navy is now in the Caribbean.
We're joined by CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie Daggett.
Yeah, you can fuck right off.
A show of force broadcast on Venezuelan TV. A show of force broadcast on Venezuelan TV as government media reports countrywide military exercises amid growing tension with the US. Venezuela's defense minister inspected air defense systems and warned Washington about any attempt to overthrow the government. The military exercises were held as President Nicolas Maduro signed into law a new national defense framework to integrate civilian and military forces.
By signing this law, all integral defense commands that bring together all public institutions of...
That's not how it works, and you talking about before they came into power is not the same regarding what we should have done after they came into power. You can also look at Reconstruction and the Civil War for that. No, banning them is not making them a martyr. It's not treating them as martyrs to free speech. That does not produce that. We allowed that to be produced. If you make it so you can't do that, even that rhetoric would be illegal, because you are advocating for an anti-democratic party. It is anti-democracy. It should be illegal in a democracy to advocate for anti-democracy. That, therefore, even just making that argument in that case is already banned. Not to mention the fact that you also then increase education so that people understand how this works. For example, if we taught people not just that the Nazis propagandized using propaganda and convinced all of Germany to elect them like this, and maybe, actually taught the specific propaganda that they used, we wouldn't be in the situation where the same exact propaganda is being deployed on the American population today, decades later, and nobody has any fucking idea that it's one-to-one exactly the same. Yeah, Venezuela produces some of the best, actually. It's true, on the oil side of it. Like, we want their oil, we just don't need it right now. It's still part of it.
The Venezuelan state, the military and all popular power must be activated at dawn. So by signing this, the order must be activated for integral defense commands to be established, structured, and put to work in order to be prepared.
Coffee. Makes sense. We just actually took away tariffs on coffee, didn't we? Guess too many Americans got mad at that one.
Says US President Donald Trump is trying to overthrow him. Trump denies that.
There are reports that you are considering striking.
Some days he does, some days he doesn't.
No. Have you made a decision on that?
No, it's not true.
And that's despite a build-up of US naval forces in the region that Washington says is part of what it describes as its war on drugs. The US has bombed more than a dozen boats.
Remember, this is so bad, we're committing so many crimes that even the UK has now stopped sharing intelligence with us because of what we're doing, because this is illegal. And also, France has also called it out with illegal. Are those subtitles in Comic Sans? I guess. I don't know.
Off the Venezuelan coast since September, and more recently in the Eastern Pacific. Washington says the vessels were targeted because they were transporting drugs. More than 70 people have been killed. Trump has downplayed reports of the US expanding its contacts with opposition groups inside Venezuela. Maduro's defense minister says his country is ready to respond to any US military escalation.
We're lovers of peace. We do not want war either here or anywhere in the world. But if they come to touch Venezuela, they will find us here.
Hazel, how you go about doing so matters. Like, a lot.
Foreign leaders, some members of Congress, legal experts, and family members of those killed in the attacks on boats have demanded.
I didn't set the font myself. Jesus Christ, y'all are distracted today. Look, the point is, shit's about to get hot in the Caribbean. It's actually a shock that we haven't already struck them, because just last week, Trump was presented with military options for striking the ground, inside of Venezuela, land strikes. Trump presented with military options for Venezuela, including land strikes, according to CBS. This was on the 14th of November. I don't care what the betting sites are saying. Every military official, every military blogger was losing it because we announced Operation Southern Spear. We don't usually announce a named operation like that publicly unless we're going to do something. The last big one being Operation Midnight Hammer when we bombed Iran. And so everyone thought we were about to bomb Venezuela. Not to mention the fact that, I don't know why Hegseth keeps choosing names for these operations that sound like condoms, like Southern Spear for her, ribbed for her pleasure or something. But, I really don't understand the rhyme or reason of the boat strikes. If they're going to go full regime change, what's taking so long? What are they scared of? A lot of things, actually. Entering into a war with Venezuela would be hard. We would, first off, likely lose that war. Beyond that, their crimes that we're committing. And beyond that, we've also seen, aid arriving in Venezuela. We've seen, a Russian plane landing there, probably carrying, small arms and some ammunition. We know Wagner is operating in the region. There's another Russian plane that landed in Nicaragua not that long ago as well. It's complicated. And at the same time, we're doing this in part to pull ourselves out from Europe and the Pacific. In fact, going back to a couple months ago when the Pentagon put out a memo saying if we don't end the Ukraine war very, very soon, the chances of America getting pulled into a multi-front war with Russia, China, and Iran are significantly higher, which then resulted in the Pentagon saying that we were shifting our focus away from Europe and the Pacific and closer to, our home theater, to the Americas. We said that specifically. The Pentagon put out a memo saying that specifically because we didn't want to get drawn into a war with China, Russia, and North Korea. And so them also being included and involved in Venezuela is that line that we're trying to thread at the same time. Beyond that, I don't know what's actually taking them this long. realistically, like, we should have been prepared for it. But you do have to also remember that the guy in charge of the Pentagon is a DUI hire. So, you know. Operation SS, by the way. True. I hear that Maduro is trying to arm citizens to defend Venezuela from America based. Well, he is. And he has. He's also mobilized like several 100,000. I fucking hate defending Maduro, but I will say in this case, based. So, why do you think the US wants to attack Venezuela if not for the oil? I didn't say not for the oil. I said it's not the only reason. I've also already answered that question today, Bulletproof Baldy, in response to you. It is for the natural resources, it is for the long-standing feud between Maduro and Trump, and it is because we want to use it as a staging ground for further military action in Latin America. I'm sorry, did you say DUI hire? I did indeed say DUI hire. Trump's attacks against Venezuela is an example of why I'm a tanky. Well, don't be a tanky, because tankies are dumb, but, like, you're clearly smarter than the average tanky. The average tanky supports America right now because of where we're at. Look, again, like, tankies are Marxist-Leninists. That's not a real ideology. The two conflict. Marx and Lenin's ideologies do not fit together. Tankies are not a real ideology. You can believe a lot of the same things they do, though, and not be a tanky. You just have to not result in America bad, therefore Russia, China good. That's the line. Hasn't Russia already shipped Maduro missiles that the U.S. That can strike the U.S. Home territory? No, I don't believe that they have, because I don't think that they can. Not be a plane at the very least. To do that, it would need like physical ships, and that will take weeks and months of logistics. The only planes that they can fly to Venezuela can't be fully loaded when they're flying because they can't make that distance. The actual routes that these flights had to take were incredibly convoluted, and to do that and be able to carry those missiles, you can't make that flight across the Atlantic or the Pacific, really. I just can't believe Hegseth is actually calling the shots. Dude is a moron. What general would listen to him? Well, to be fair, they fired a lot of the other generals, but he's not actually the only one calling the shots. For example, we know for a fact, according to, like, internal sources from the administration, that Stephen Miller ordered several of the strikes on the fishing boats. So. I legit couldn't tell if you said DEI or DUI. I was going to recommend DUI. Yeah, it is DUI. Remember when Russia tried to put missiles on the American doorstep? Yeah, with ships. Remember when Russia tried to, remember when Russia sold Turkey S-400 air defense and it took them 40 shipments to fly them from Russia to Turkey, which is significantly closer? You need physical ships, like via the sea. That takes weeks to accomplish. Do I think that they might have sent, like, I don't know, a couple Shahed drones on a plane? That I can see. Like, that's how Russia got North Korea to start ramping up production of Shaheds. They gave them 3 to clone. It's also how Russia started production, because Iran gave them 3 to clone. Now, on the, like, subject of can we see strikes within the US, sure, if they have Shahed drones, again, they're not very difficult to produce, and they're not very difficult to manufacture. But missiles, especially anti-ship missiles, that's going to require ships, not planes. At least in the current context. Maybe 1, maybe 2, but no. Like, if it's going to be in a plane, that'll be the only thing on that plane, will be that one missile. So, Maduro's been speaking out a lot recently, and he said this as of the 13th. Quote, they tried to pin the label and stigma of communists on us. Later they called us terrorists. Now imperialism is inventing an even more outlandish narrative. Since they can't say Maduro has weapons of mass destruction, they invent a narrative so false that it collapses and no one believes it. Well, actually, don't think for a second that we won't say that, because we fucking will. Classified Justice Department memo authorizing drug boat strikes cites chemical weapon threat. We are actually claiming that they have weapons of mass destruction. Just instead of nuclear weapons, we're saying that they have chemical weapons. So, You are wrong, Scotty, and I'm not going to argue with you on this right now because it is not the topic that we're on, but no, Marxism and Leninism are contradictory. Go read both. We've talked about that at length on this channel. So, Venezuela plays no role in fentanyl production or trafficking. This is true. According to the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, Venezuela is not a cocaine-producing country. This is also true. An annual report from the USDA published in March did not mention Venezuela in the 4 pages dedicated to cocaine trafficking, citing instead Ecuador, Central America, and Mexico. So, like, yeah, no. Like, the fact that, like, again, if you wanted to come up with a bullshit justification to attack Venezuela, you could do far better. It would still be a bullshit justification. Like, you still would not come up with one that is good enough, but you could do far better than this. Again, like, if it was me, I would just be saying, well, Venezuela does host radar for China, which China uses to spy on American servicemen movements. Like, sure, sure, they do. I mean, we do that to them through Korea and Japan and Taiwan. It wouldn't be enough, but it would be still better than this. It would be, it would make more sense, you know? Might be a lost cause trying to ascertain motive or strategy or coherent intent from this government, who knows? Well, remember, like, almost no war in history is, rationally started. God bless America. If they pick a fight with the USA, they'll be wiped out. I mean, if they pick a fight with Venezuela, rather. I don't know about wiped out, but we definitely won't win. I'll tell you that much. If Venezuela is a chemical weapon threat, then so are the Sacklers. And I would actually literally say the Sacklers are far more of one. Usually tanky is a Trotskyist term for those who don't, I mean, to be fair, Trotsky is also a scum, and, I don't care. I don't care! I don't care! Stop arguing about leftist theory. Ever. Please, stop it. Do not argue about leftist theory. It doesn't matter. Most people can't even fucking read. This is a literal psyop, mind you. Like, the feds come into channels like this and start arguments based on theory. The Sacklers should never have gotten out of that goddamn deal. Well, of course they did anyway, because that's the whole point. We like creating evil like this. That's the whole point of America. We, on purpose, created the drug epidemic that we're now using to justify invading countries in Latin America. Miss me with that authoritarian shit.
We have deployed most 200,000 soldiers in all the territory for this drill. And I have to say that this is not going to undermine the control on what we are doing in strategic. We are fighting against all threats. The drug trafficking, terrorists, the ones that want to operate are trying to operate in our territory. We are giving a proper answer, and the people from Venezuela has to know that Venezuela is covered, protected.
Well, I hope so. We'll see. We're gonna bomb them on the ground soon. We've been inching closer day by day by day.
What does the MQ-9 Reaper drone, the AC-130 gunship, and American fighter jets all have in common? These are the weapons the United States is using to blow up alleged drug boats in Latin America. Since early September, the U.S. has killed 76 people in 19 strikes as part of a campaign that Washington says is intended to stem the flow of drugs from Latin America into the U.S. The Pentagon has not publicly acknowledged what type of aircraft and hardware was used in the 19 strikes so far, but now we know. The United States has used a variety of drones, gunships, and fighter jets in these strikes, each time costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Most times
paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to destroy tiny little boats.
They've used what's known as the MQ-9 Reaper drone. These are typically armed with missiles designed to destroy enemy tanks and cost about $3,500 per hour to fly. Other strikes were conducted by an AC-130 gunship. This is a massive plane equipped with a massive gun. The cost isn't public, but an earlier model, phased out in 2019, cost over $40,000 per hour to fly. Now, the U.S. military also used fighter jets to carry out some of these strikes. That cost is estimated to be around $40,000 an hour to fly as well. Now, these military assets have been spotted at U.S. military outposts in El Salvador and Puerto Rico, according to photo and satellite imagery obtained by CNN.
Puerto Rico being the main staging ground, which, by the way, free Puerto Rico, but also we are using El Salvador as a staging ground as well, not to mention that 17% of the U.S. Navy is currently operating in the Caribbean. Beyond that, like, we're not just doing strikes in the Caribbean, we've also done strikes in the Pacific, so...
But sources tell CNN that U.S. officials can't explain why so much firepower is needed if they're only going to blow small boats. And even now, more military assets are on their way. That includes a massive aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford.
Which arrived
it's
today.
America's largest warship, and it arrived in the U.S. Southern Command.
I mean, I support Venezuela against the U.S. here. It's just not because I'm a campist. It's because even though Maduro is a piece of shit and a dictator, and I hate him, we're worse. It's just about picking which side is the least evil in this situation. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes both sides are equally as evil. In this case, it's not. Also, not to mention that, like, I can't really think of a scenario in the modern day where both sides are equally as evil. There's usually one that's a little bit more evil than the other. It needs all of our money. The reason is to feed the MIC monster. Oh, yes, it is. That's the actual only fucking reason that we're doing this. So, we got the USS Gerald R. Ford carrying more than 4,000 troops and dozens of strike fighters and combat helicopter arriving in the region today. We've had Trump given options to strike inside of Venezuela already this week, and it's getting bad. I mean, here's what we at least know, what's been publicly said so far about, like, the options for striking in Venezuela.
Tells CBS News senior military officials have presented President Trump with options for potential military operations inside Venezuela, including potential strikes on land. This would be an escalation from the current campaign against alleged drug boats. Officials say the U.S. launched its 20th strike on Monday, killing 4 people. CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson has more.
CBS reported earlier this week that there was a meeting at the White House where Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
Yeah, Maria Machado. She's also, like, long-standingly allied with the United States, working with the corpos behind the scenes, literally already has deals set up with some of these corpos for projects that they can open up inside of Venezuela if we were to overthrow Maduro and install her instead. So, like, yeah. My view, the question is not, do we have disagreements with Venezuela? The question is, are we still going to support them anyway? And for me personally, yes. Like, in this case, yeah, I'm still supporting Venezuela in this case. Because my disagreements with them are less serious than my disagreements with America. They might be, run by a dictator, but their dictator is not currently trying to destroy the entire planet, and also a Nazi. Maria encouraged the starvation of her people by embargo. She did. It's wild that they gave her a fucking peace prize.
The top U.S. military officer, General Dan Kane, presented President Trump with options on Venezuela, including potentially striking on land. That would be a shift. So far, the U.S. military has targeted speedboats in the Caribbean and in the Eastern Pacific, allegedly carrying drugs, in an operation that Secretary Hegseth named yesterday, Operation Southern Spear. That meeting about options going forward comes as the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, and its escort ships are headed to join a growing armada already off of Venezuela. The Ford and its ships bring not only fighter aircraft, but also Tomahawk missiles with the range to strike inside Venezuela.
I wonder why we decided not to give Tomahawks to Ukraine. If you think that one's wild, see the one in 39. Yeah, well, this is our version of it. Oh no, I caught the green sword disease. Sorry, everyone in Twitch chat does.
Decides to go with that option, that would be a major escalation, making good on his threats that land strikes could be next. When the Ford joins...
had seized more than $700 million in assets linked to Maduro, including private jets, and also said that 7 million tons of seized cocaine have been traced directly to him. And now with this increased military presence and strategic attacks on these alleged drug boats, sources close to the White House say it is kicking up to a new level, Lindsay. One senior source close to the Trump administration said, quote, "It is not a good time to be Nicolas Maduro." No, Lindsay?
The Trump administration has also signed off on an armed...
For the love of our ears, hire someone under the age of 40 to name these things. Also true. So, like, this shit's like, look at this. This is an American congressman. Representative Carlos Jimenez, Armed Services Homeland Security Select Committee on China, posting cryptic shit like this yesterday. Everybody is waiting for it already. It's already on the way. Like, come on. It's scary. So, we look at potential military targets, and you can see where a lot of these might just be. I would expect air defense to be first up for targeting, because, I mean, like, you know, we use the air to target them, whether we're firing from a ship or not. They don't want, I don't know, like the missile to get shot down, so air defense goes first, I would imagine, or radar/ISR, rather. Naval targets, possibly. Air targets, I wouldn't say are that high. They don't have very many. Like, Venezuela has a lot of planes, not a lot of planes that can actually fly. The radar and the air defense are primarily going to be like what we need to take out. The naval targets are not that big of a threat to us. Most of Venezuela's ability to defend itself would come on land. Again, Venezuela is very mountainous and almost entirely rainforest. This would be kind of like invading Iran and Vietnam at the same time. So it would be very bad. Then again, we could also see like the military academy, the DGCIM HQ, which is like Maduro's anti-terrorism task force, or like, you know, anti-CIA task force, all getting hit. I could see that. But what was announced today is we're getting set for major military exercises off of Venezuela's coast now that the Gerald R. Ford has arrived, and like, these exercises might not end in just exercises.
The U.S. says its biggest aircraft carrier strike group has now entered the Caribbean Sea. The U.S. Navy making that announcement a short time ago. The USS Gerald Ford is set to join major military exercises that are scheduled to begin today off the coast of Venezuela. The U.S. has already put more than a dozen warships and 15,000 troops in the region as tensions with Venezuela continue to rise. We've got full coverage for you. CNN senior reporter Betsy Klein is in Florida, where the president is spending the weekend. We're hearing from the Secretary of the Army today. What is he saying about Venezuela?
Well, Frederica, there have been weeks.
Isn't what Putin said before going into Ukraine exercises? Yes.
Of threats from President Trump as the...
Second question, are they not at all concerned about domestic political backlash, considering the cracks in the Republican legislature and some of them being genuinely worried about the election results? Don't they feel like they can maintain public support for something like this for very long? Well, again, they're not always coherent. No war was ever started rationally, but also I think that they're banking on this helping with that. We'll see if it turns out to be the case. I wouldn't assume that it would help.
U.S. has been amassing resources
How many second-generation Venezuelan Americans on those warships? A few, actually.
In the region. And the president's administration has launched at least 20 strikes on alleged drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean since September. President Trump himself has said that he has authorized the CIA to operate in Venezuela. And we understand, according to reporting from our sources, that the president has been briefed a number of times in recent days, at
least 3 times last week on a range of options to move forward. That includes the possibility of airstrikes on military or government facilities in Venezuela, as well as drug trafficking routes, as well as what could be a more direct attempt to oust the country's president, Nicolas Maduro. The president told reporters Friday that he'd made up his mind, sort of, but declined to provide specifics. Now, experts have described this military buildup in the region as significant. As you mentioned, we have learned.
Did you know that Israel is just the 51st American state and is not any different than the rest of America? I'm so sick of people thinking Israel runs America. Israel is just the most honest version of America.
That the USS Gerald Ford, that is the nation's largest aircraft carrier, has arrived in the Caribbean Sea as of today. Separately,
the pressure to invade Iraq came from literal fucking defense contractors, which literally is just Israel anyway. It's just 6 defense contractors in a trench coat.
There are roughly 15,000 military personnel on the ground, 10 F-35 fighter jets, as well as more than a dozen warships in the region. And we heard from Army Secretary Dan Driscoll a short while ago about the plans. Listen.
I think that the President and Secretary of War have spent a lot of time thinking about what is the best thing they can do for the American people. And I can speak from the Army's perspective, which is we have a lot of training in that part of the world. We're reactivating our jungle school in Panama. We would be ready to act on whatever the President and Secretary of War needed.
But no orders beyond these exercises at this point?
We don't talk about those kinds of things, yeah. But we would be ready if asked.
Now, I want to get into the why here. Of course, officially, the Trump administration is going after drug trafficking operations in Venezuela, but regime change could be a side effect of that. And efforts to oust Maduro have proven elusive to so many administrations, including the president's first term. Now, if Trump ousted Maduro, that could allow him to claim some major wins. Of course, getting a strong man out and potentially an elected leader in, the possibility of enhanced collaboration on drug trafficking and migration flows, as well as potential deals in oil. Of course, all of this carries very high risks, and that is something that the president is now weighing, Frederica. Okay. Betsy.
There is no drug trafficking? I mean, we've talked about that, yeah. Like, the numbers don't add up. How drug trafficking through Latin America into the United States works is not like this. Like, just by the numbers. First of all, most drugs that are trafficked from Latin America into the United States are done through land, through Mexico, by white people, by neo-Nazi groups. Most of the drugs that are smuggled by sea is done through submarine, not by small fishing boat. We just don't think about this in a way that is related to any of what's happening. Also, apparently as of today, we're now claiming that we're going to designate Cartel de los Sols, the Cartel of the Suns, a Venezuelan criminal and drug trafficking organization. Even though we don't have any evidence for that. We just don't. Now, let's talk about the military-industrial complex for a second, huh?
January 2009. President-elect Barack Obama plans to put an end to the revolving door between government and industry.
And we need to close the revolving door that lets lobbyists come into government freely and lets them use their time in public service as a way to promote their own interests over the interests of the American people when they leave.
To do this, he creates a rule. Members of his team have to wait 2 years.
Okay, now why are my subtitles in another language this time?
Years between lobbying and working for the government. It was something that he mentioned on the campaign trail multiple times and reaffirmed after his victory. But even before he took office, Obama broke his rule. The exception? William J. Lynn III. Lynn was a lobbyist, earning over $1 million a year as an SVP at Raytheon. But he wasn't just any lobbyist. In fact, he previously worked as the Undersecretary of Defense for Bill Clinton, in charge of defense budgets and acquisitions.
Hello there, Bubba.
That is, he previously worked for the government, and he previously capitalized on his insider knowledge to make big bucks, exactly what Obama wanted to stop. But Lin was back, and this time at the recommendation of Obama. 6% of GDP in the
By the way, Obama also didn't deserve a Peace Prize.
80s to 3% by the late 90s. The unipolar moment had come. The US was the sole global superpower, and the US didn't have a need for all the weapons, planes, ships, and more. But given an entire industrial apparatus was set up to feed the demand for war, the defense industry began to struggle. In fact, the then Defense Secretary Les Aspin was quoted in 1993 saying the US had twice as many defense contractors as it needed. To this end, the Pentagon encouraged mergers in what became known as the Last Supper meeting in 1993. Northrop merged with Grumman, Lockheed merged with Martin Marietta, and Boeing acquired McDonnell Douglas. And by 2000, the top 5 contractors controlled more than 50% of Pentagon contracts. Top US officials believed this would make the defense industry more efficient.
It did not. It made it very expensive and dogshit. For example, look at Boeing's planes now. They used to be the standard in quality, but now they're a defense contractor. They don't need quality, they have guaranteed money. So what do they care if their product is dogshit?
These larger contracts were strong and stable.
Not to mention the fact that we pay like 8 billion times more for it than we needed.
And they could be relied on moving forward. But there was a problem. By consolidating the industry, they had inadvertently created oligopolies. Within a decade, the US went from 51 large prime contractors to only 5. Not only that, but the defense industry began seeing a major shift where specialists dominated government procurement. Take a look at this chart. From 1993 onward, traditional commercial companies went from 70 to 80% of all procurement to just 10%. And although specialization in and of itself isn't bad, this points to a more alarming trend. Defense was now a sustainable business model, which meant these contractors had an incentive to ensure war and weapons were on the agenda, because that was their business.
I can't imagine what beer they were drinking to think market consolidation of companies with government contracts would be efficient. They didn't think it was efficient. That's just what they told the public. Do you think that they didn't know the outcome would be when they did this? No, they knew. They did that on purpose. It's like 100% the only reason they did that. It's not efficiency, it's money. It's more money for them. It's kind of what happens, you know? As going back like well into history, I mean, like, we have warnings of this, right? Like we've heard about the military-industrial complex and the dangers of what could happen if they get too much power or control for, like, ever since TV was fucking black and white. Gee, I wonder why our non-military economy mirrored this shift. Yeah, literally.
And given there were only 5 majors left, they controlled everything. And if they all played nice with each other, they would be filthy rich. To put this into numbers, since the year 2000, the defense industry has outperformed the market in every 5-year period. Not only that, but their risk-adjusted returns are far more attractive than nearly every other security. Which begs the question, how is that even possible? Simple. Every decent investor knows that the best businesses have large markets, consistent growth, and revenue and margin predictability. Defense is a massive market. The US spent nearly $1 trillion on military in 2024 alone. And not only is it a big number, but it's grown from $640 billion just 10 years prior. But wait, there's more. The business is extremely predictable. Firstly, the Department of Defense and agencies use multi-year contracts which give contractors line of sight on spending for years to come. Next, they often have single-source contracts. Once a defense contractor develops a platform, for example, like a fighter jet, submarine, or missile system, they effectively own all of it.
And it's not just America, they also get to sell it to our allies. Yeah, well, it's woke when you don't give your taxpayer dollars to private contractors. That's true. That's true. The challenge of communism was one of the few forces to force capitalism to tie down its glutton of greed with some semblance of mock-up principles. You're not wrong there, Christopher DePlante. The fall of the Soviet Union really allowed America to go full mask off. We didn't have to prove that we weren't that we were better than the commies over there, and so then we just got to stop giving a shit in general. and steal everything.
This means that maintenance contracts, upgrades, and parts are automatically awarded to the same contractor. But there's more. Contracts are cost plus. Basically, margins contractors earn are capped to a percentage of the cost. To the average bureaucrat, this sounds genius, but to anyone with real-world experience, this is obviously a terrible idea. It disincentivizes contractors from controlling costs, because if costs go up, they make more absolute profit.
Which is why we have to spend a fuckload of money on anything. Like anything that gets made. Not to mention the fact that, like, before this, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers was the ones that, like, were the people that did a lot of this stuff. We used to make our own planes for the military in the military, not buy them.
There are some crazy examples.
Whoopsie, hit the wrong button there. Like, obviously, we did also buy some stuff every now and again. It's just like, the idea of everything has always been like this has never been the case, ever.
And have all been caught selling yours. AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile have all been caught selling user data, tracking user.
Goddamn ad. Also skip me to the wrong part of the video. Love that. Here we go.
Is the contractors from controlling costs, because if costs go up, they make more absolute profit. There are some crazy examples of people abusing this. The F-35 fighter jet, for example, started out as a $200 billion project, but costs ballooned and now the lifetime cost is nearly $1.7 trillion. Another example is the VH-71 presidential helicopter, which had an initial cost of $6 billion and spiraled to $13 billion, and then the program was killed. In each scenario, the government ate the cost of cost overrun, and the contractor actually made more money than they expected. And since the industry is consolidated, everyone plays nice. No one wants to rock the boat.
Also, circular financing of AI and chip manufacturers are not helping, and yet we're not stopping. OpenAI is literally demanding guarantees from the government to gamble with, like, taxpayer money. They want a guarantee that they could gamble. Like, you know, they'll get bailed out like 2008 again if they fuck up. Which, to be fair, like, the AI bubble is this close to popping. China moves on Taiwan, America's economy collapses. You understand that, right? If we don't have a deal in place with them first for, I don't know, like NVIDIA chips alone. NVIDIA is the only thing holding up our economy. I know, that pisses me the fuck off, yeah. You know how many people could have been fed and housed with that money? So many. FDR's New Deal was an example of that. Well, like, yes. It's just FDR also only existed to prevent socialism from coming to America. So, like, don't get me wrong, I like FDR. I named my last cat Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But the dude existed to keep liberalism alive.
The market keeps growing and profits stay the same. Everyone is happy. Unlike other industries, the incentive for defense is sadly at odds with humanity. Now, you might not like Google, but their products
I can't blame you for that sentiment, Buncor. I really can't. I like them because, you know, things were worse before and they're better now, but they could have been far better if we didn't get FDR.
Super cheap. They are highly innovative, and most people, whether they want to admit it or not, have benefited greatly from them. The same applies to many other companies. Succeeding and beating competition generally means lowering prices and providing an incredible customer experience. Look at Amazon, Costco, Microsoft, and many, many more. But in defense, succeeding means encouraging war and mindless spending. There is no incentive to lower costs and innovate. Instead, costs keep rising and the taxpayer gets nothing in return.
I'm just not that invested in, I don't know, hating a dude from a century ago that has very little semblance on the modern day. I mean, like, I know that he didn't do good for us. It's just he did better than the ones before him. That doesn't necessarily make him good. It's sick. These people are sick. Yeah, these people are sick. What about Hitler? Are you calling him Hitler? Are you saying, like, in relation to, like, World War II? Like, again, we did a lot of fucked up stuff in that time. Though I will say, like, as bad as FDR was for this country, still wasn't bad enough because they tried to do a fascist dictatorship coup on him, kind of like the one that we're living through now, even back then. Like, even the dude whose job it was to save capitalism was not enough for the capitalists. No, in relation to what you just said, not invested in... I don't remember what I just said. You gotta remind me. Don't ask what we did to the Japanese back then. Well, I mean, I know what we did to the Japanese back then. It just wasn't FDR. It was partially FDR, but not just him. Corpos doing things like this make me mad. You want to get even more mad at corpos? Different corpos, not even defense contractors this time. Because I can make you real mad at corpos. This is what airlines are doing now. Fucking TikTok sounds. You want to be mad at corpos? We can be mad at corpos. Well, technically he's still alive as a giant arachnid under the White House. That makes sense. That makes sense. What in the hell? Sorry, this is how you get to fly now. You, is this an attack on Titan soldier dropship? No, this is just what they want to make flying like, so that you can fit more people on the plane. And also make, you know, economy cheaper. How much did those people get paid to stand like that? No, sorry, they paid to stand like that. You're misunderstanding. They pay to stand like that, I'm assuming either because this would be cheaper than an economy seat, or because they can fit more seats like this than using standard economy seats. They want them flying to stand, well, no, they're buckled in. It's not that it's more dangerous. Like, look at them. They're not going to go anywhere if, you know, there's turbulence. They're not going to go flying. But, like, yeah. They can fit more people, collect more money, trash as fuck. Basically, yeah, just looking at them put me into a panic mode. Sorry, mate. Just take the government contracts and build more planes for insane amounts of money. This idea is trash. Yeah, but they don't get to siphon that money as much if they do that. For real, I thought the asshole spike that Spirit Airlines has an add-on for comfort was bad. Like, you know, the one that makes your asshole bleed, it's better than standard package. Asshole spike is the platinum diamond package. I would believe it, yeah. People will faint because they can't stand like that for long, and then they'll say, then you should have paid for a better seat so you could sit down. That's what they'll say to that. Because they don't care about people. They care about stealing from people. They care about taking your money and making your life worse and inflicting suffering and misery onto you. This is what they want the future of flying to be. They just hate you. Yeah, it's pretty simple, really. When you understand that corporations, the rich, the powerful, they just simply fucking hate you, it makes things a lot easier to understand. They will, I can see it now. Yeah, totally. Totally. Alright, I got a couple more things for you guys. Not much. Not too much. The first thing is, if you live in New York and you get arrested by the NYPD and your case gets dismissed, you should be suing the NYPD. So says this base lawyer.
You know, when I get your case dismissed, we're going to turn around and sue.
Oh, and Nadia Yvette, that won't just be America, that'll be global. The corporations that are running, you know, like air traffic, it's not just an America thing. One company does that, every other plane will have that too very soon.
The NYPD and get you paid, right? See, I don't talk about this enough, but when you get your criminal case dismissed in New York City, you now have a case for false arrest and malicious prosecution. And since I'm both a criminal defense and civil rights attorney, as soon as I get your case dismissed, we turn around and file a notice of claim and we sue the NYPD. And you get a significant payment. And the reason why we do this is not just to get you justice, and not just to put money in your pocket, but it's also how we fight over policing in this city. If we make it expensive for the police to make false arrests, they make less false arrests. So don't be shy. Hit me up, let's get your case dismissed, and then let's get you paid.
Based as fuck. And he's right. And the fact that, like, New York even gives you the ability to do that alone is based as fuck. Here's this guy's link. You can find his email in his bio on TikTok, and you can send him an email if you have been arrested by the NYPD and you think that it was falsely so. I fled New York City in January. I got massive scars on my wrist from 2 different occasions where I was having a seizure and idiot cops put handcuffs on me. I need some sort of scar reduction surgery. Call that lawyer, Nadia Yvette. I don't know who that is, but I'm sitting in a puddle right now. Again, like, anything like that makes me so happy. Because, again, like he said, it's not just about getting you justice. It also is producing side effects that are good for the community. It makes it expensive to over-police, and then they do it less. Excellent criminal defense attorney. He's also an impact litigator and is well connected to basically any other specialization. Like, again, you can tell just by listening to him talk. Dude knows his job, knows his rights, knows your rights, and knows who's the villain here. This guy is so cool. I'm gonna fly to New York and get falsely arrested. I'm gonna stand on the plane. Are they gonna require me to re-enter the USA, or can I carry out the entire civil case from Germany? I think you should be able to carry out the entire civil case from Germany. Like, as long as you have all the records, I don't think you would need to. They might need you to appear in court, but you might be able to get that to happen via, like, there you go. Buncor says you can do it from Germany, and Buncor is literally a lawyer, so, you know, you can do it from Germany. Sue the NYPD. No, we can have it waived? There you go. Sue the NYPD. And now finally, on a lighter note, y'all want to see the most clownish robbery I have ever laid eyes on? And when I say clownish robbery, I really mean that in the most literal way possible.
We're seeing some unbelievable footage out of Virginia as burglars pour into the street like a circus routine. 9 burglars were caught on camera coming out of what looked like a clown car. Check this out. 2 people were even seen climbing out of the trunk. Police say the group robbed a commercial building near Warrington on October 15th. And right now, they're asking the public's help to identify them.
That is so funny to me. I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh my ass off at that. Like, just 9 dudes in that little sedan. That's interesting because when you sue like that, you're suing the police department or the prosecutor, because in reality, prosecutors don't have to bring charges if they believe the arrest is bogus, right? Well, what I was told in school, socializing sapien, is if you're gonna sue anybody, you sue everybody. Like, I remember having a teacher that said, if you, like, ever get hurt in the school, sue the teacher, we'll be fine. Sue the school, sue the county, sue the state, sue, like, everybody. And I assume the same is the case with, like, a fake arrest. Or, you know, rather a bogus arrest. Did they pull it off? I believe they did, Oxpecker. I do believe they did successfully pull off that robbery. Sheesh, what the fuck if the car is that full? Where are they going to put all the stolen shit? I have no idea. That's a good question. When the NPCs just spawn. The arrest is NYPD, the charges is DOJ. That makes sense. They forgot the cartoon sound effects on the video. I know, right? There's no room for stolen merch in there. You're not wrong. Guys will literally do this instead of cuddling with their bros. That's also true. Correct, Vizora. They're both at fault. In this case, you sue both and you would win both. Based. There you go. Sue them both. Sue them both. Guys, join the Discord if you haven't already, and follow me on YouTube in case Twitch bans me. They do not like me over there. And if you want to donate, you can do so through this link. So Twitch and YouTube don't take half the cut. Also, if you're on YouTube, you can become a member and get access to the cool-ass emotes that we have in there. Now, guys, I'm going to be taking a little bit of time off going forward. After today, I'm going to be gone for about 2 weeks. I got some personal stuff I got to take care of that I've been putting off, and then I got like a lot of updates I have to run. I need you all to also take some time during the holidays. I know Thanksgiving can be a lot for a lot of people, especially if you have to see your family, especially if they're your MAGA family, because things are going to get a lot worse. Winter is coming. And I mean that in like the bad way, you know, not just like winter, but winter is coming. And I need you guys to be ready. I need all of us to be ready for it, because when shit hits the fan, it's going to be bad. And it's going to be bad really, really fucking quickly. So take the time to refresh over the holidays, to recenter yourself. I'm going to do the same. We're going to come back. And when we come back, we are going to be prepared, aware. We're going to be able to do the analysis. We're going to pay attention, because it's going to get dark. We're almost through the first year, so it is what it is. Enjoy your break. I will be taking at least a little bit of time to properly take a break, you know? At the very least, like, I need to touch some grass myself. Like, I need some time to actually do things that I've been putting off, but I also definitely need some time to just turn my brain off from the news, relax, touch some grass, so that I can come back and actually, I don't know, see things clearly. To do the analysis that's required. It needs you to be able to connect the dots on all these things, and there's so much that they're putting out at any given moment that it's impossible to not drown in it if you are in it for too long. So all of you also try and take a break when you can. Now, we're still going to raid somebody today. In the meantime, however, I will be putting out a video at some point this week on the YouTube channel, and hopefully another one next week. Check in on your friends, y'all. Please go talk to your neighbors as well. Let's see who we can raid. Oxpecker, you always have someone for me to raid. You got one today? Or shall I just pick from my existing list of people? Because you always give me, like, base people to raid. Herb is doing a fundraiser. I don't know who that is, but that sounds lovely. Let's go and say hi to the people in this chat having a fundraiser. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good holiday. I will see you guys when I can. Join the Discord. I will still be active in there, and I will definitely try and hang out in the voice chat during my break. So I will see you guys there. Now, I will see you guys next time. Sorry, YouTube chat. I'm going to be ending you guys now because you can't raid with us. So I will see you guys next time. And Twitch, just hang in there. Bye-bye.